Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm here to show you my Werewolf build for the Deadlands DLC patch. This build is capable of pulling over 100k on the parse dummy and is viable for most endgame content. The build specializes in pulling as much damage as possible for group content such as Trials, Vet Dungeons, and group arenas. This build is not optimized for solo play. With that being said, without further ado, here's the build that I'm running.
For this particular build, I chose to be a sorcerer because they have the most amount of passives within their class line that transfers over to the werewolf, meaning more DPS. So the first passive we have is Unholy Knowledge. This is a great cost reduction passive. The second passive we have is Power Stone, which reduces the cost of your ultimate abilities. And third and fourth are going to be here, which increases your physical and shock damage by 5%, and Amplitude, which increases your damage done by 1% for every 10% they have. Particular build, I am running 64 points into stamina with the Thief Mundus. For this particular build, I am a Dark Elf. Dark Elf has some of the best passives for Werewolf, including Max Mag and Max Stam, and weapon and spell damage. Some other viable choices would be High Elf, Khajiit, Orc, and anything else that benefits Stam wouldn't be bad choices as well. So for the consumables for this build, for content we have RTM Takeaway Broth. This is your best choice for health, stam, and stam recovery. Dubious Cameron Throne, which is your cheaper option. And when you're parsing or you feel like you need that extra sustain, Lava Foot, Soup, and Salt Rice is always the go-to. In terms of potion, for the majority of the content, you want to be running just Essence of Stamina because you have access to the buffs you get from weapon power, which are Major Savagery and Major Endurance. Both of them come inherent within Werewolf skills that should be slotted on your bar, therefore not needing them. Another way you can work around this patch is if you have Sustained by Suffering, the red CP I'll go over in a second, you can run these Essence of Stamina potions. There's two different variations. One has Minor Timidity, which eats at your ultimate, and the other one reduces your physical resistance. But both of these potions proc Sustained by Suffering, giving you another 150 bonus recovery onto the much needed recovery because Werewolf is struggling to sustain. For the champion points, we're going to be running Master at Arms, Deadly Aim, Wrathful Strikes, and Backstabber. For the red tree, we're going to be running Fortified, Rejuvenation, Sustained by Suffering, and Balanced Vitality. Sustained by Suffering, this is the CP that I was referring to with the potions earlier for that extra recovery. For this particular build, I'm running Reliquant Daggers, Nirnhoned, and with a poison damage enchant. Always be mindful that Nirnhoned always has to be in your main hand slot to benefit from the extra damage. Offhand's going to be charged with a flame damage enchant, a medium slime crawl head traded into vines, Zovgin and Reliquant body mismatch. We have a Harpooner's Waiting Kilt and Zovgin jewelry. The reason we're running Zovgin is because it allows us to have access to Minor Force, which we cannot use because we can't use Barb Trap. The reason we're using Reliquant is because it is a very strong single target dot and has the ability to give us Minor Slayer, which increases your damage done. So for the skills for this build, I'm running Brutal Pounce, Howl of Agony, Ferocious Roar, Claws of Anguish, and Hircine's Rage. The rotation is super simple. You start off with 2 casts of Brutal Pounce, 1 cast of Claws of Anguish, 1 cast of Hircine's Rage, and 5 casts of Howl of Agony. If you cannot fit 5 into your rotation without your Brutal Pounce dot ticking away and losing its stacks, then cast 4.
So to begin your parse, you want to start off with an opening pre-buff. This pre-buff consists of starting off with your potion, and then using Dark Deal, Hurricane, bar swapping, starting off with your first pounce.
Main rotation for the werewolf would be 2 casts of Pounce, followed up with a Claws and a Hircine, and then 5 casts of Howl of Agony. Make sure you do not lose those stacks of your initial Pounce. If you do 5 and your rotation is too slow, you're never going to be able to keep your stacks up high enough. So at that point, I'd recommend doing 4. But to push the most amount of DPS, 5 casts would probably be the best. So explaining how Brutal Pounce works. So once you cast Pounce once, it'll pounce. Second time is going to be a dot. Now you see how it has 7 seconds ticking on the bottom left of the screen? Now if you recast it twice, you have to cast it twice, you're going to get 2 stacks. What this does is once you hit 6 stacks, it's going to give you a stacking dot and it's going to increase your weapon and spell damage. 600 to be precise. After 6 casts like that, so if you look at my buff bar, there's going to be 6 casts. So what that means is you have to keep refreshing those 6 stacks, otherwise you're going to start at 0 stacks. So once you incorporate the rest of the rotation in, if you aren't able to cast 5 howls right here without losing your stacks, that was 4 by the way, it's better off to just do 4.
That wraps up the build explanation of this portion. Thank you for watching my video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to answer them in a timely fashion. As a reminder, if this video helped in any way, please help the channel grow by subscribing and liking the video. Feel free to stick around for the attached parts at the end. If not, have a good day, and thanks again.